My beloved ones, you have come here with a hunger. I can feel it. It is a hunger that you have carried for many lives. You think you are looking for love. You think you are here to find a secret map, a formula, or a trick that will finally bring the perfect person into your life. But let me tell you the truth right now, in this very moment. Love has been looking for you far longer than you have been looking for it. You have simply been hiding. You have been hiding behind your fear. You have been hiding behind your memories. You have been hiding behind the wounds that you still carry like trophies in the museum of your heart. Listen closely to me now. Listen not with your ears but with your being. Because this moment right now can become the moment you step out of hiding. And when you step out of hiding, love finds you. It finds you very fast. In this communion we are sharing, I will take your hand. I will show you why love has felt so far away, like a star in a distant galaxy, even when you wanted it with all your heart, with all your tears, with all your prayers. I will help you see the fears you never noticed, the patterns you never questioned, and the simple truths about love that your society, your parents, and your priests never told you. But before we go deeper into this ocean, I invite you to join this gathering of seekers. If you wish to walk this path of truth with us, if you wish to awaken the sleeping energy within you, press the subscribe button, like this video, to signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. It is a small gesture, but the universe watches every gesture. Now let us walk into the first truth together. And this truth is simple, yet almost nobody ever sees it until life has already wounded them again and again. What I am about to say may feel strange at first, because your whole life you were trained to believe the opposite. But listen to me with the same tenderness you give to your own pain. Here is something most people completely miss. The reason you have struggled to find love is not because love is far away. It is because you have been walking in the wrong direction. And this is not your fault. You are innocent. From childhood, you were told that love must be found out there, in another person, in approval, in attention, in achievement, in the eyes of a lover who looks at you and makes you feel valid. So, what did you do? You chased shadows. You chased echoes. You chased promises. And each time your hands returned empty, you believed something was wrong with you. You thought, I am not beautiful enough. I am not rich enough. I am not clever enough. While in truth, nothing was wrong with you. You are perfect as you are. Nothing was wrong except the direction of your search. You were taught to look outside, and the outside world is full of demands, full of games, full of expectations, full of rules, fears, and performances. When you chase love there in the marketplace of relationships, you naturally become tense. You become anxious, you become desperate, you start to bargain. If I do this, will you love me? If I change my face, if I change my clothes, if I suppress my truth, will you stay? And love cannot grow in such a climate. Just as a flower cannot bloom under a storm of noise and pressure, love grows only in freedom. It grows only in ease. It grows only in a heart that is relaxed enough to feel. This is why the more you ran after it, the further it seemed to drift away from you. Have you not felt this? The harder you try to hold water in your clenched fist, the faster it flows through your fingers. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine a beautiful flower in a field, a wild rose. Does the sun chase the flower? Does the sun beg the flower to open? Does the sun sign a contract with the flower? No. The sun simply shines, it simply is. And the flower opens when it is ready. It responds to the warmth, it responds to the presence. In the same way, when you stop running after love and begin to create space for it inside yourself, a space of silence, of softness, of openness, something begins to shift, something subtle, something that cannot be forced. The search turns inward, and suddenly what once felt far begins to feel near. But I know how deeply you have been conditioned. The mind is a machine of conditioning. I know how strongly the world has trained you to believe that love is a prize to be won or a person to be captured. We use words like conquest in love. We say we won someone's heart. This is the language of war, not the language of love. Love is not a victory over someone else. Love is a victory over your own ego. Let me tell you a small moment from my own observation. I have watched millions of people. I have looked into the eyes of thousands who came to me in misery. They all searched outside. They reached for people, for admiration, for companionship, and they found only shadows. They found only reflections that vanished the moment they touched them. It is only when you become still, when you close your eyes to the outer world and look into the silent space of your own being, that you realize love had been waiting there all along. It is patient. It is like a friend standing just behind the door you never thought to open because you were too busy knocking on everyone else's door. Perhaps this is happening to you also. Perhaps you are tired of knocking. Good, be tired. Exhaustion is often the beginning of wisdom. When you are truly exhausted with the lies, the truth has a chance to enter. So let this be the beginning, the very first turning of your inner compass. Instead of asking, where is love? Begin to ask, am I giving love space inside me? Instead of saying, why is nobody choosing me? Begin to wonder, am I allowing myself to be open? Instead of chasing after someone's attention, try becoming still enough to feel your own presence. When you shift the direction of your search even slightly, a new kind of sensitivity arises, a new kind of awareness, an awareness that is not hungry, it is not begging, it is not bargaining, it is simply present, like the sky holding the sun. And for those of you who feel this shift beginning, for those who want to support this message and ensure it reaches every corner of this suffering earth, I invite you to click the join button or use super thanks. By doing so, you are not just supporting a channel, you are supporting the spread of consciousness. You are helping to wake up others who are still sleeping in their nightmares of loneliness. Now, once you stop looking outside in desperation, you begin to notice something deeper, a whisper from within, a quiet knowing that love is not something to be found, it is something to be uncovered. There is another truth we must walk into together, and this one may touch a very tender place inside you. It may hurt a little like cleaning a wound, but the wound must be cleaned before it can heal. This truth reveals something most people spend their whole lives avoiding, something they feel but never name, something that quietly rules their relationships, their choices, their hopes, and their heartbreaks. What I'm about to share might sound almost unbelievable at first, yet once you see it, once you feel the weight of it in your own chest, you will recognize it as something you have carried for years, perhaps since you were a small child. The truth is this: you fear the very thing you long for. You say you want love, you pray for love, you write poems about love, you dream of love, and yet in the deepest corners of your heart you tremble at the thought of being seen. truly seen, without any mask, without any role, without any guard. Why? Why this trembling? This. Because being seen means you cannot hide your imperfections. Being seen means you are vulnerable. And this trembling creates invisible walls. Walls so old and so familiar that you don't even realize they are there. You think these walls are you. They are not you. They are your prison. You have been hurt before, I know this. Everyone who walks on this earth carries scars, and pain teaches strange lessons to the mind. A child who is burned by fire will hesitate even before the warmth of a safe flame. Why? Because the memory of pain lingers longer than the touch of joy. The mind records the pain to protect you, and the same has happened in your heart, somewhere in your past. Perhaps your first love, perhaps your mother, perhaps your father. Love touched you with both beauty and pain. They came together, and the mind, trying to protect you, said never again. It began to build an armor, layer upon layer of caution, layer upon layer of suspicion, control, self-protection. You became clever, you became sarcastic, you became busy, you became independent. Not true independence, but a defensive independence that says, I need no one. Until the armor became so thick that even the softest touch could not reach you anymore. Yet the heart inside that armor is still longing. It is still hungry. It is crying out in the middle of the night. It is still waiting for someone to melt those walls with their presence. But you do not realize that no one can melt them from the outside if you keep them reinforced from within. You are holding the door shut while crying that no one is coming in. This is the tragedy of fear. It protects you from pain, yes, but it also protects you from joy. It protects you from closeness. It protects you from the very intimacy your whole being cries for. You cannot selectively numb your heart. If you numb it to pain, you numb it to love. If you build a wall to keep out the enemy, you also keep out the friend. The wall does not know the difference. I want you to feel how this fear shows up in your life right now. Be honest with yourself. Honesty is the first step of transformation. It appears when you push someone away the moment you feel too close. The moment things get real, you pick a fight, you find a flaw, you run away. It appears when you doubt a kind gesture, suspecting there must be something hidden behind it. What do they want from me? You ask. You cannot accept a simple gift. It appears when someone starts caring for you, and instead of relaxing, you begin to tense up. You wait for the other shoe to drop. You wait for something to go wrong. You destroy the present moment because you are afraid of a future that has not happened. It appears when you pretend to be stronger than you are, when you smile while you are hurting, when you hold back the truth of your feelings because you fear rejection more than you desire connection. And slowly, you begin to believe that maybe you are unlovable. This is the greatest lie. The real truth is not that you are unlovable. The real truth is that you have simply become unopen. Let me tell you in my way what I have seen again and again in thousands of hearts. You have armored your heart. The armor protects, but it also prevents touch. The armor gives you safety, but it also takes away warmth. The armor promises security, but it steals intimacy. And as long as this armor remains, love struggles to enter, because love is not a warrior. Love is not an invader. Love does not break down doors. Love does not climb walls with grappling hooks. Love is gentle. Love is patient. Love is like the breeze. If the window is closed, the breeze simply waits outside. It does not smash the glass. Love waits for permission. Love waits for space. Love waits for you to say, I am open. even if you are trembling while saying it, even if your voice shakes. In fact, a shaking voice is often more authentic than a confident one. And something beautiful happens the moment you see your fear clearly, without judgment. Do not judge yourself for being afraid. Do not say, I am a coward. No, say, I am hurting. Say, I am protecting myself. Be kind to your fear. It was created by a child who didn't know how else to survive. The moment you acknowledge, yes, I am afraid, a quiet readiness begins to rise. Fear that is seen becomes softer. Fear that is understood begins to melt. Fear that is allowed begins to transform. And in this transformation, a new kind of strength appears. Not the hardness of a rock, but the strength of water. The strength to be vulnerable, the courage to be touched, the willingness to allow someone into the inner garden of your being. So let us walk gently here, because this is the turning point. When fear becomes clear, something else begins to rise. A quiet readiness, a longing not born from desperation, but from truth. A longing that says, I am scared, but I am willing. I am willing. These are the magic words, not I am fearless, but I am willing. And this willingness is the first opening. It is the first crack in the armor. And as the great poet Leonard Cohen said, there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. You are that crack. Let the light in. Through that opening, love begins to approach you. Because now you are not only longing for it, you are ready to let it in. If these words are finding a home in your heart, if you feel the armor beginning to loosen, I invite you to explore our deeper writings. We have prepared ebooks that serve as maps for this inner journey. They are available to you if you wish to go further. Check the description. Now we must go one step deeper into the illusion that has held you in longing for so many years. The illusion that love will arrive from the outside as a kind of miracle that will heal every wound, fill every emptiness, answer every question, and make your life whole again. This illusion is perhaps the oldest story humanity has carried. It is whispered into our ears by parents, by poets, by films, by songs, by culture itself. Find your better half. You complete me. Soulmate. And we have believed it so completely that we never pause to ask whether it has ever been true for anyone. Look around you. Look at the married couples. Look at the lovers. Have they been completed? Or have they simply doubled their misery? What I am about to share may loosen something inside you, because it reveals the misunderstanding at the root of so much suffering. You have been waiting for someone to complete you. You have been standing with an empty cup, hoping that someone else will come with their overflowing heart and pour enough love into your emptiness to make you feel enough, wanted, held, chosen, safe. But listen to me. Listen to the mathematics of existence. Two empty cups cannot fill each other. If you are a beggar, empty of love, and you find another beggar, empty of love, and usually beggars find other beggars, what will happen? You will both demand. You will both want the other to give. And when the other does not give because they have nothing to give, you will feel cheated. You will feel angry. You will blame them. You are not loving me enough. You will scream, and they will scream back, you are not loving me enough. Two beggars meeting on the street cannot feed one another no matter how sincerely they try. They can only share their poverty. They can only share their hunger. Let this sink into your heart slowly. No one can complete you because you are not incomplete. You have been told you are half. You are not half. You are a whole universe. But when you believe you are incomplete, when you believe something is missing, you will choose lovers from your wounds, not from your wholeness. You will choose someone who fits the shape of your pain. If you feel small, you will choose someone who dominates you. If you feel unworthy, you will choose someone who ignores you to prove your belief right. And such love can only create more longing, more pain, more dependency, more disappointment. When you expect someone to fill your inner emptiness, you do not enter a relationship as a full being. You enter as a half, and halves are always hungry. They cling, they chase, they demand, they fear. They fear losing what they think is their only source of nourishment. And from that fear grows jealousy. Jealousy is nothing but the fear of the empty cup. If you look at someone else, you might pour my water into their cup. This is the logic of the beggar. From this fear grows control, insecurity, anxiety, all the poisons that slowly choke the sweetness of love. A person who feels empty inside becomes heavy in a relationship. Have you felt this heaviness? Have you felt it when someone needs you too much? It feels like chains. It feels like a prison. They carry the hidden belief that love is something to acquire, to own, to possess, to hold on to tightly. And the tighter they hold, the more love suffocates. This false idea of completion has woven itself into your heart so deeply that you may not even notice how it guides your choices. You look for someone who will validate you, someone who will stay no matter what, someone who will promise never to leave, someone who will finally make you feel worthy, someone who will give you the love you never gave yourself. But can you see the impossible burden this places on another human being? They too are walking with their own wounds. They too have their own insecurities, their own mysteries, their own childhood shadows. They cannot carry the weight of your unloved self. They are struggling to carry themselves, and when they inevitably fail to fill the space inside you because they must fail, it is impossible to succeed. You feel betrayed. You feel disappointed. You say, love is a lie. Love is not a lie. Your expectation was a lie. Imagine this with me. Imagine holding an empty cup and waiting for rain. Days pass, weeks pass. You stand outside under the open sky, waiting, hoping, praying for the clouds to open. But the sky is unpredictable and the rain does not come when you want it. And so your cup remains empty, and with every passing day your thirst grows deeper. This is how most people wait for love. They wait in the realm of chance, in the realm of conditions, in the realm of someone else's choices. Will he call? Will she like me? Will they swipe right? You have given the master key of your joy to a stranger. But what if the real source of water was not the sky? What if the real source of water was a well inside you? What if you were carrying the very fountain you keep searching for in the world? Then love would no longer be something you wait for. It would become something you bring. It would become something you share. It would become something that overflows from your fullness, not something you beg for from others. And suddenly the whole landscape of your relationships would change. Because instead of asking, who will complete me, you begin to ask, who can I share my fullness with? Do you feel the difference? One is a question of hunger. The other is a question of abundance. The emperor asks, who can I share with? The beggar asks, who can give to me? Be an emperor, be an empress. This is the shift I wish for you. This is the moment when your whole idea of love begins to transform. When you stop looking for completion and begin discovering your own wholeness. When you realize that the emptiness you feel inside is not a lack of love, but a lack of connection to yourself. When you understand that the love you crave from others is really your own love calling you back home, and when you begin to fill your own cup with silence, with understanding, with awareness, with acceptance, with compassion, you no longer enter relationships as a beggar. You enter as a giver. You no longer cling in fear. You open in trust. You no longer ask someone to save you. You invite someone to walk beside you. And my beloved one, when two full beings meet, that is poetry. When two overflowing hearts come together, when two wells of love share what they already have within themselves, then love becomes a celebration. It is not a necessity, it is a luxury, it is a dance. It becomes sharing, not begging. It becomes freedom, not bondage. And this is why the moment you stop waiting for someone to complete you, you become ready for a deeper, truer, more joyful love. A love that does not drain you but expands you. A love that does not fill your emptiness but mirrors your fullness. When you understand why love has not reached you yet, when you see how your longing has been shaped by fear and by fantasies, the next step becomes clear like a path appearing at dawn. It is time now to prepare the soil of your heart so that love, when it finally arrives, can grow in a place that is ready, open, alive. If you are ready to prepare this soil, if you are ready to stop begging and start overflowing, then you are ready for the next part of this journey. I ask you to pause here, breathe, feel the weight of these words. If you have found a mirror in what I have said, leave a comment below. Share your truth, share your realization. When you write it down, it becomes more real. And share this video with someone who is suffering in the name of love. Be a light for them. This is only the beginning. We have only just cleared the surface. Next, we will discuss how to clean the house of the heart, how to deal with the ghosts of old lovers, and the power of silence. Now that we have seen how your search has been moving outward instead of inward, how fear has been hiding behind your longing, and how the fantasy of completion has kept you waiting for someone else to give you what you already hold within, we must take the next step on this journey together. And this step is gentle but powerful. It is like the first breath after a long night of holding everything inside. What I am about to share might seem simple, almost too simple for the depth of the pain you carry. The mind always looks for complex solutions because the mind loves complexity. It thinks, my problem is big, so the solution must be big and difficult. But simplicity is often the key to the doors we have forgotten how to open. Here is something that almost nobody ever considers. Before love can enter your life, the house of your heart must be cleared. And I do not mean cleared in the sense of erasing memories or rejecting the past. Do not misunderstand me. You cannot erase your life. I mean cleared in the sense of making space, real space, deep space, the kind of space where something new can breathe, where something fresh can grow, where love can move without stumbling over the old furniture of resentment, regret, expectation, and unfinished stories. Look inside for a moment. Close your eyes and just look at the room of your heart. What do you see? You will see how much you are still holding the faces of old lovers you still argue with in your mind. Are they not there? You are still having conversations with them. You are still trying to win arguments that ended 10 years ago. You are still trying to prove them wrong. You will find words that were spoken years ago but still echo in your chest as if they were said this morning. A criticism from a father, a rejection from a teenage crush, a harsh word from a spouse. They are all there, taking up space. You will find expectations you placed on yourself and expectations others placed on you. Promises that became wounds, memories that turned into habits of closing. All of this fills the inner room where love wants to enter. And when the room is crowded, when it is cluttered with painful moments and tight beliefs, love knocks but finds no space to sit. You may think you moved on. You may say, Osho, I have forgotten him, I have forgotten her. But the heart keeps its own kind of storage. The mind forgets, but the body remembers. The energy remembers. And when you cling to the past, even unconsciously, the future cannot find its opening. Imagine you live in a small house and every corner is filled with old boxes, old clothes, old books, old objects you haven't touched in years. The dust is settling on them. You cannot even walk across the floor without bumping into something from yesterday. The moment you want to welcome a guest, you begin to realize you have nowhere to seat them, nowhere to place a fresh flower, nowhere to simply allow movement. Love is that guest, and for so long, love has been arriving at your door only to find that every room is already packed. Love looks in the window and sees there is no room for it. It sees you are too busy with your ghosts. This is why clearing the house of the heart is not a luxury. It is essential. Love needs space, not as emptiness, but as openness, not as loneliness, but as readiness, not as vacancy, but as acceptance. To clear the heart is to release everything that keeps your energy tangled. It is to let go of old lovers, not with bitterness, but with a grateful bow. Can you do this? Can you visualize the person who broke your heart and bow to them? Can you say, thank you for the experience. Thank you for showing me where I was not free. Now, you may go. It is to forgive yourself for the mistakes you think you made. You were learning. You were a child in the school of love. Why punish a child for falling while learning to walk? It is to soften the grip of stories that no longer serve you. The story that men are dangerous, the story that women are manipulative, the story that I am always abandoned. These are just stories. They are not the truth of your being. It is to say to the past, thank you for your lessons. You may rest now. Healing begins the moment you stop trying to arrange the past into some perfect shape and instead let it settle gently without resistance. Stop fighting with history. You cannot change what has happened, but you can change what you carry from it. Acceptance does not mean agreement. Acceptance means recognition. It means saying, yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt, and now it is over. Recognition brings peace. Peace creates space, and space is the soil in which love grows. Without space, love suffocates. Without space, love cannot move. Without space, love becomes just another burden on an already crowded shelf. When you make room inside, when you open even a small area in the heart, love notices, love responds. Love has always been trying to reach you, but it cannot enter a heart that is filled only with yesterday. So let this be the beginning of your clearing, not a harsh cleaning. Do not go to war with yourself, not a forced purging, but a soft letting go. The kind that happens when you breathe deeply and allow whatever wants to fall away to fall, like a tree in autumn. The tree does not struggle to drop its leaves. It simply lets go, trusting that new spring will come. For years you have carried what was never yours to carry. You have carried your parents' unhappy marriage. You have carried your society's rigid rules. For years You have been holding the weight of pain because you didn't know there was another way. And I am here to tell you, the moment you begin to release the past, even by a fraction, the light begins to come in. And when the light enters, it changes everything it touches. The crowded house becomes a sanctuary. The dark corners become luminous. The silence becomes alive. And in that silence, love finally has room to sit beside you. If you feel this space opening within you, if you feel the weight of the past lifting even slightly, I invite you to click the join button below. By becoming a member, you support this sanctuary we are building together, a place where hearts can learn to unload their burdens. And my beloved one, when the space is cleared, silence becomes possible. We must now enter the next truth together. And this truth is one that cannot be rushed, cannot be forced, cannot be demanded, because it belongs to a realm deeper than thought and more ancient than desire. What I am about to share may sound quiet, almost too quiet for a world that celebrates noise and speed. But silence has always been the doorway through which real love walks. And when I say silence, do not be afraid. I do not mean the silence of isolation. I do not mean the silence of loneliness, the silence of a graveyard, or the silence of boredom. I mean the silence of presence, the silence of awareness, the silence that happens inside when your mind stops running toward the future or hiding from the past. The silence where you are simply here, breathing, sensing, awake. You have been taught to believe that love is found through effort, through action, through strategies, through dating apps, through performances meant to win someone's attention or approval. You think you have to do something to get love. You have to be funny. You have to be smart. You have to be successful. But love is not found in movement. Love is felt in stillness. When the mind quiets even for a moment, your true longing rises without fear. When the heart becomes still even for a breath, its natural warmth begins to flow again without being pushed, without being held back. And this is why silence dissolves anxiety, because anxiety is nothing but the noise of thoughts running in circles. What if he leaves? What if she doesn't like me? What if I am alone forever? These are just thoughts, noise. And when those thoughts settle like dust in sunlight, the truth becomes visible. The truth that love is not something you must catch or chase. The truth that love is already near you, like a fragrance that only reveals itself when the wind stops. The truth that you have been so busy searching that you forgot to simply feel. Imagine a lake under the moon. I want you to visualize this clearly. A vast, dark lake. High above, the full moon is shining. When the water is restless, when it is full of ripples and waves because of the wind, the moon cannot be seen clearly. It breaks into pieces. It shimmers without form. It becomes distorted. If you look at the lake, you will say, the moon is broken. But the moment the water becomes still, the reflection becomes perfect. Did the moon change? No, the moon remained the same. But the lake became quiet. Your heart is that lake. Love is that moon. When your inner world is agitated, when your mind is full of fear, when your past is still speaking louder than your present, love cannot reflect clearly inside you. It becomes distorted by expectation, by insecurity, by imagined stories. You see rejection where there is none. You see anger where there is only sadness. You see abandonment where there is only space. But when the waters of the mind become silent, when the heart relaxes even a little, love's reflection becomes whole. it becomes visible, it becomes yours. And this is why meditation is not a technique. Do not think of meditation as something you do for 20 minutes in the morning to lower your blood pressure. That is a medical use, not a spiritual one. Meditation is a meeting with yourself, a meeting with the part of you that is untouched by pain, untouched by longing, untouched by the noise of the world. Meditation is the moment you come home to your own being, the moment you remember that before anyone loves you, before anyone touches you, before anyone understands you, you exist as pure presence. You are. That emptiness is the source of all love. In that presence, love begins not as emotion. It is not the fever of romance that burns out in 2 months. It is not attachment. It is a subtle warmth rising in the chest. It is a gentleness toward yourself, a sense of being enough without needing anything to complete you. Feel this inside you for a moment. Right now, as you listen to my voice, feel how your breath softens when you are not fighting with your thoughts. Feel how your shoulders drop when you stop trying to become someone. Feel how your heart loosens when you allow yourself to simply be as you are. This is silence, not the absence of sound, but the absence of inner struggle. And in this silence, something magical begins. The courage to show your true self, because only in silence can authenticity rise. Only in silence can vulnerability feel safe. Only in silence can the heart turn outward again, not in fear, not in hunger, but in openness. And love responds to openness. The way a flower responds to sunlight, it moves toward it, it unfolds, it grows. Silence is the doorway, because silence is the space where you become real, where you become transparent, where you no longer hide behind stories or armor. Silence gives you back to yourself, so love can find the true you, not the mask, not the performance, not the role. And once you taste even a moment of this silent presence, you will never again be satisfied with the noisy, anxious imitation of love that the world has taught you. You will know the taste of the real. And once you know the real, you cannot be fooled by the fake. So let us breathe here together in this moment. Let the noise fall away. Let the mind soften. Let the heart rest. And feel how the silence inside you is already beginning to whisper your name. And in this stillness, something else emerges. The courage to show your true self. What I am about to tell you may surprise you, for the world has conditioned you to move in the opposite direction. The world tells you, fake it until you make it. The world tells you, wear the right clothes, say the right lines, play the game, but lean a little closer to my voice. Let your breath slow down. Let your heart open even a touch more. And hear this, when you become real, love finds you without effort. Authenticity is the most magnetic force in existence. And yet most people spend their whole lives trying to become someone else, trying to be liked, trying to be chosen, trying to fit the image they believe others want to see. I must be the perfect wife. I must be the strong husband. I must be the cool girlfriend. And in all this pretending, they become invisible to the very love they seek. You see, when you pretend, when you wear masks, when you shape yourself according to someone else's expectations, you may attract attention. Oh yes, masks are very good at attracting attention. Glitter attracts the eye, but you will not attract love. Attention comes to masks, love comes to truth. And because authentic people are rare, so rare that they shine like a fire in the dark, the one who is real becomes irresistible, not because they try, but because they are free. A real person does not chase. A real person does not cling. A real person does not worry about being enough because they are simply themselves without apology. They say, "This is me, this is my madness, this is my joy, this is my silence. Take it or leave it." And this simplicity, this innocence, this transparency creates a space where love feels safe to enter. Love cannot walk through walls of performance. It hits the wall and bounces back, but it walks easily through the open door of authenticity. Let me tell you something you have seen many times, but perhaps never understood. Think of the people who have moved you, touched you, stayed in your memory long after they left the room. Were they the most beautiful? Were they the richest? No. They were not perfect, they were not flawless, they were not always confident, but they were real. They laughed openly with their whole belly. They cried when their heart was heavy without shame. They spoke honestly, they stood in their own truth even when their voice trembled. And because of that, you felt you could breathe around them. You felt you could be yourself. You felt your own armor softening in their presence. That is the power of authenticity. It gives permission, it gives space, it gives safety. And in that safety, love grows like a flame that no longer fears the wind. Pretending, on the other hand, creates distance. When you hide your true self, you force others to love an image, a mask, a role. You force them to love a ghost, and no matter how much affection they give to that image, it never reaches your real heart. How can it? They are kissing the mask, not your face. This is why you may feel unloved, even when someone says they love you. They say, "I love you," but you feel lonely. Why? Because you know they love the lie you have presented, not the truth you are hiding. The love is touching the mask, not the person behind it. And because you know this, even if unconsciously, you remain unsatisfied, longing, restless, searching. Authenticity is not only magnetic, it is healing. It brings your inner world and outer world into alignment. So you no longer live in two places at once, one face for the world, one face for the mirror. That split is the cause of your schizophrenia, your anxiety. I want you to imagine the difference between a mask and a face. A mask is smooth, polished, pleasing. It has a permanent smile, but it is cold. It has no warmth, it has no breath, it has no mystery. A face, even with its flaws, its wrinkles, its expressions, is alive. It moves, it feels, it reveals. Love cannot touch a mask because a mask has no life. Love touches only what is alive. And this is why I say to you, the moment you become real, love becomes possible. The moment you stop performing, stop pleasing, stop bending yourself into shapes that hurt your soul. The moment you stand as you are, imperfect, beautiful, human, something within you begins to shine. Something that cannot be imitated. Something that cannot be faked. And hear me deeply. Authenticity invites intimacy. Vulnerability invites closeness. Realness creates trust. The heart recognizes truth the way a flower recognizes sunlight. It turns toward it without hesitation. When someone meets the real you, not the character you built to survive, not the image you crafted to be liked, but the true you, they feel something ancient. They feel something familiar. They feel home. And this feeling is what draws love in without effort. This is why the most magnetic people are not the most perfect. They are the most real. So let this be your turning point. Let this be the moment you begin to choose yourself as you are. Let this be the moment you refuse to shrink, refuse to pretend, refuse to wear the clothes the world has placed over your soul. Because when you become authentic, you become visible to love. If you are ready to drop the mask, if you are ready to be seen, truly seen, then you are ready to understand the mechanics of how love actually enters. It enters where there is no demand, and this is where we will go next. But before we step into that understanding, if this message of authenticity has touched a chord in your being, consider supporting us with super thanks. It is a way of saying, I value the truth. And do not forget to check the ebooks in the description. They are deeper maps for those who are ready to walk the path of the real. Now let us prepare to understand why demand kills love and why relaxation creates it. And now that you know how to become ready in space, ready in silence, ready in truth, the next step is to understand how love actually enters your life. How it begins, how it grows, how it becomes something that can stay. You must listen to this with your whole body, because the mind will fight this. The mind loves to fight, but the heart knows. Love comes when there is no demand. It arrives not when you chase it, not when you beg for it, not when you cling, not when you try to hold life in your hands like a frightened child gripping a fragile toy. It arrives when you relax so deeply that love feels invited rather than forced. You see, demand is rooted in fear. It is the shadow of fear. When you fear losing something, you try to grasp it. When you fear being alone, you try to secure someone's presence. When you fear being unworthy, you try to prove yourself. And this fear creates a weight. It creates a pressure. It creates a tension in the air around you that repels love. It works exactly the same way a tight fist repels water. I want you to do this small experiment with me. It is a meditation in action. Open your hand, relax it. You can dip your open hand into a river and the water flows into it. It rests there. It cools your skin. But if you clench your fist and plunge it into the same river, no water enters. The water goes around it. The water avoids the tightness. In the same way, when your heart is tight with demands, stay with me, choose me, love me, don't leave me, don't forget me, don't hurt me. The natural flow of love cannot enter. You become a closed fist. You are begging for water while keeping your hand closed. Love is like a bird. It comes through open windows, not through cages. Most people do not understand this. They think love grows when they try harder. They think if they text more, if they call more, if they worry more, if they check the phone every 5 minutes, they are showing love. They think effort is the key. But effort comes from fear, and fear is the opposite of love. So they push love away while believing they are pulling it closer. And when the other person feels this invisible pressure, this demand for reassurance, for certainty, for constant proof, they begin to withdraw. They pull away, not because they don't care. Listen to this, because it will save you much suffering. They pull away because love cannot breathe in the presence of demand. It begins to suffocate. It begins to shrink. It begins to disappear beneath the weight of expectations. Let me show you with a simple image that will stay with you forever. Imagine a bird perched on the open palm of your hand. If your hand is relaxed, open, flat, the bird may stay, it may even sing. It may look around, feeling safe in the spaciousness of your openness. It feels no prison, it feels no trap. But the moment you try to close your fingers around it, even with the best intention, even just to keep it safe, even just to say, I love you so much, I want to keep you, the bird becomes frightened. It senses the cage. It pulls away. It flies off. Love is just like that. When you try to possess it, you lose it. when you try to hold it too tightly, you crush the very possibility of intimacy. But when you open your hand, when you open your heart, when you allow love to be free, it returns again and again. Why? Because freedom is the oxygen of love. If you are beginning to see where you have been closing your fist in your own life, take a moment to click the like button. It is a small act of opening your hand to receive this message. And if you wish to help us keep these messages flowing like a river to others, consider using super thanks. Your support keeps the water flowing. And now, let us look at the other side, the side the world rarely speaks of. When there is no demand, there is a space. And in space, something magical happens. The other person feels relaxed in your presence. They feel safe to be themselves. They feel no pressure to perform. They feel no pressure to please. They feel no pressure to become the perfect partner in your imagination. They feel they can breathe. And when someone can breathe around you, love naturally begins to arise. Not because they are forced, not because they owe you anything, but because freedom creates warmth, and warmth invites openness. This is why the most beautiful relationships are not built on need, but on ease, not on desperate longing, but on natural closeness, not on expectation, but on simple presence. When you stop demanding love, when you stop making it a condition for your happiness, a strange thing happens. Love begins to move toward you, not because you chased it, not because you earned it, not because you waited for it like a beggar waits for coins, but because you created space for it, because you were relaxed enough for it to enter, because you allowed it to be what it is, free. And hear me deeply here, demands kill spontaneity. When you demand affection, affection fades. It becomes a duty. I must kiss her now because she expects it. I must call him now or he will be angry. The joy is gone. The dance is dead. When you demand attention, attention turns into work. When you demand closeness, closeness becomes suffocating. Love is a flower. It opens in the presence of sunlight, not in the grip of hands that try to pry its petals apart. A flower torn open is no longer a flower. A love forced open is no longer love. So let this be your new understanding, your new mantra. Relaxation attracts love. Pressure repels it. Ease invites the heart. Fear closes it. Love arrives when you are not demanding it, not hunting for it, not gripping it, but simply being full, open, grounded, real. And when love enters your life in this way, without force, without demand, without fear, it carries a sweetness you have never tasted before, a sweetness born from freedom, not from need. And when love finally enters, my beloved one, the next challenge begins, because getting love is one thing, allowing it to live is another. Now that you understand how love arrives only when the heart is relaxed and free of demand, we must step into the next truth together, a truth that reveals the delicate nature of the early moments of love. Those first flames that flicker in the quiet hours when two souls begin to feel each other, when something soft and warm starts rising between two beings like dawn slowly painting their sky. These first flames are fragile, they are sacred, and they are easily disturbed, and the world has taught you the wrong way to tend to them. What I'm about to share might sound like a contradiction to everything you have learned. But listen with your heart, not your mind. Because the heart always understands what the mind argues against. In the beginning of love, what nourishes it is presence, not possession. The moment you try to own the flame, it dims. The moment you try to control it, it becomes smoke. The moment you try to hold someone too tightly, something inside them and inside you begins to retreat. Possession is fear disguised as care. You may think you are protecting the relationship. You say, I just want to know where you are. I just want to know who you are with. You think you are keeping it safe, ensuring it does not slip through your fingers. But beneath this desire to hold is the fear of losing, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of not being chosen. And fear cannot nurture love because fear closes the heart while love opens it. Fear clings, love allows. Fear shrinks, love expands. Fear demands, love invites. And in those early moments when the connection is still new, still forming, still learning how to breathe, if the energy becomes tight, heavy, controlling, demanding, even subtly, love begins to shrink back like a small flame overwhelmed by too much wind. Presence, on the other hand, is a soft warmth that requires nothing and gives everything. Presence says, I am here with you, without implying you must stay here for me. Presence says, I am enjoying this moment without insisting you promise me you will never leave. Presence is the art of being fully with another person without gripping them, without projecting a future onto them, without making them the answer to your loneliness or the guarantee of your happiness. Presence creates a field of safety, and in safety, the heart opens naturally. When you sit with someone in presence, without pretense, without performance, without fear, they feel it. They feel seen, they feel valued, they feel able to breathe. And where breath flows freely, love grows like a flame that finds oxygen. Let me show you how easily this can be understood. We go back to the water. Hold a handful of water in your palm. If your hand is relaxed, cupped gently, the water stays. It glimmers, it settles, it reflects the sky. But if you squeeze your hand even slightly, if you try to grip the water to make sure it doesn't leave, the water escapes. It flows through your fingers, it disappears. No matter how desperately you try to hold on, love behaves the same way. The more tightly you grow attached to the idea of owning it, the faster it slips away. But when your heart remains open, spacious, gentle, love stays. It stays not because it is trapped. It stays because it feels safe. It stays because it feels invited, not needed. It stays because it feels free. Think of a moment when you were newly connected with someone, a moment of laughter, a moment of shared silence, a sudden spark of closeness. Remember how effortless it felt? That ease was not the result of promises. It was not the result of checking each other's phones. It was not the result of control. It was born from presence. You were simply there, open, curious, alive, and the other person felt this in your energy. No words were needed. Presence communicates a language the heart has always understood. Possession speaks only the language of the mind, the language of fear. The heart does not respond to fear, it closes. The heart responds to presence, it opens. And presence requires you to be real in how you feel, how you listen, how you allow the moment to unfold without forcing it to become something else. Presence means you are not acting from the wounds of your past. You are not looking at this new person and seeing your ex-husband. You are not looking at this new lover and seeing your critical mother. You are not projecting the ghosts of yesterday onto someone new. You are not demanding they heal what you have not yet touched inside yourself. Presence means you are meeting this person as they are in this moment, with no expectation of who they should become next. These early flames of love are like wildflowers. They grow naturally when the conditions are right, when there is sunlight, space, openness. But they wilt when smothered. They wilt when trampled by the weight of neediness. They wilt when overshadowed by insecurity. If you can learn to remain present in these first moments, without rushing, without grasping, without turning love into a future to be secured, you will see something remarkable. Love will begin to deepen of its own accord, without your intervention, without your force. It will unfold the way dawn unfolds, quietly, gradually, naturally, beautifully. And listen, my beloved one. Presence does not promise permanence, it promises truth. And truth is the soil in which lasting love grows. So when love first enters your life, tend to it with presence, tend to it with openness, tend to it with curiosity, tend to it with patience, tend to it with awareness of your own fear. Watch your fear, say to it, I see you. You want to grab, you want to control, but I am choosing to be open. Tend to it by staying awake to the moment, not lost in fantasies of the wedding, not lost in comparisons with the heartbreak of last year. For when you allow presence to guide the early steps of love, something deeper becomes possible. Something most people never discover because they are too busy trying to control what they should simply witness. And that deeper thing is understanding, a kind of seeing that goes beyond words, a kind of seeing that heals. And we will walk into that next. Because even deeper than presence is something very few people learn, the art of seeing the other without the distortion of the self. If you are ready to learn this art, if you are ready to move from passion to understanding, then stay with me. This journey is deepening. If you have found value in this space we are creating, do not forget to subscribe. It is the only way to ensure you do not miss the steps that follow. And for those who are ready to dive into the ocean, our ebooks are waiting in the description. Now, let us prepare to look into the eyes of the other and truly see them for the first time. Now that you have seen how the first flames of love come alive through presence rather than possession, we can step together into the next layer of this mystery. A layer so profound that even those who have loved many times may never truly enter it. What I'm about to share is not complicated, yet it requires a kind of awareness that few people bring into their relationships. But you are beginning to awaken to something deeper, so you are ready for this. Listen closely and let these words fall gently into your heart. Love deepens through understanding, not through passion alone, not through promises, not through desire or attraction or shared dreams, but through the simple, tender act of understanding another human being, seeing them clearly without judgment, hearing them without interruption, feeling them without fear, meeting them without masks. You see, most relationships are built on imagination rather than understanding. Two people come together not as they are, but as the other hopes they are, as the other wishes them to be. They project fantasies onto each other, fantasies of perfection, fantasies of healing, fantasies of rescue. You look at the man and you see a prince. You look at the woman and you see a goddess. And then when the reality begins to surface, because reality always surfaces, when the real human being beneath the dream begins to appear with their bad habits, their moods, their fears, their tiredness, disappointment sets in, not because the person changed, but because the fantasy dissolved. The movie ended and the lights came on. And when fantasy dissolves, the relationship either collapses or it matures. It collapses if you were in love with the image. It matures only if understanding enters. Understanding is the bridge between illusion and reality. Without it, love cannot grow beyond the first spark, because love needs truth to breathe. Let me show you something very simple about how we relate to one another. Most people listen in order to reply, not in order to understand. Watch yourself next time you are in a conversation with your lover. Watch your mind. While they are speaking, what are you doing? Are you receiving their words, or are you preparing your defense? Are you sharpening your knife? Are you waiting for a gap in their sentence so you can jump in and prove you are right? They listen to protect their ego, to cling to their own perspective. But when someone listens with presence, when someone listens without the noise of the ego, something extraordinary happens. The other person feels seen, truly seen. And being seen is one of the deepest human needs, deeper even than being touched. To be understood is to be held psychologically. When you listen with your whole being, without rushing to fix, without trying to improve, without inserting yourself into their sentences, you create a space where the other person can unfold. And in that unfolding, intimacy grows like a river, finding new pathways through the earth. Two mirrors reflecting each other. This is the metaphor I want you to hold in your heart. When both people observe each other with awareness, without projection, without distortion, they begin to see themselves more clearly as well. Understanding softens the ego because the ego cannot survive in the presence of truth. The ego wants to be right. Understanding wants to be real. The ego wants to protect itself. Understanding wants to open. The ego clings to its own story. Understanding listens to the story of the other. And when two people meet in this space of mutual seeing, love deepens, because love thrives where the ego dissolves. Do not underestimate the power of small understandings. When you understand why the other person reacts the way they do, compassion arises. When you understand their wounds, their history, their fears, perhaps they had a cold father, perhaps they were bullied, perhaps they have a fear of abandonment, you stop taking things personally. You stop creating stories around their actions. You stop saying, "He is doing this to hurt me." You realize he is doing this because he is hurting. Understanding dissolves conflict before it begins, because conflict is born from misunderstanding, from misinterpretation, from assuming instead of seeing. Imagine how sweet love becomes when both hearts are committed to understanding rather than winning. Imagine how safe a relationship feels when both people know they will be heard, not judged. This kind of safety is rare, but it is the soil in which deep love grows. Let me give you a simple story to illustrate this. A parable. Imagine two people trying to light a fire in the forest. One has dry wood, the other has wet wood. The one with dry wood strikes a match and the fire ignites immediately. It roars, it is warm, he feels proud. I am good at making fire, he thinks. The one with wet wood strikes match after match. Nothing happens, only smoke, only struggle. Now, if the first person does not understand the nature of wood, he will judge the second person. He will say, "You are lazy, you are incompetent, you are not trying hard enough, look at me, look how easily I did it." He becomes frustrated, he becomes critical, and the second person feels ashamed, inadequate, angry. But when they understand that the difference lies not in effort but in conditions, that wet wood simply needs more time, more heat, more patience, compassion arises naturally, the judgment vanishes. They begin to help without blaming. They begin to see the situation for what it truly is. Ah, your wood is wet. Let us dry it together. Understanding transforms frustration into tenderness, and in love, this transformation is everything. When you understand your partner's wet wood, their trauma, their conditioning, you begin to love them not only for who they are, but also for who they are trying to become. Understanding is the breath of love. Without understanding, love suffocates. Without understanding, love becomes fragile and reactive. Without understanding, love becomes a battlefield of egos rather than a sanctuary of hearts. But with understanding, everything shifts. Walls dissolve, voices soften, hearts open. What once felt sharp becomes gentle. What once felt distant becomes familiar. What once felt confusing becomes clear. Understanding brings love out of the realm of fantasy and into the realm of real human connection. And remember, my beloved one, understanding does not mean agreeing with everything. You do not have to agree to understand. Understanding means seeing clearly. It means listening deeply. It means allowing the other person to be who they are without trying to mold them into your own idea. When you do this, love no longer feels like a negotiation. It becomes a mutual unfolding, a shared discovery, a gentle dance of two beings revealing themselves slowly, honestly, lovingly. If you are feeling the truth of this, if you are realizing how often you have judged instead of understood, click the like button. Let it be a vow to yourself. From now on, I will seek to understand. And if you wish to support the spreading of this wisdom, consider clicking join. Your contribution helps us keep this fire burning for everyone. And once you begin to understand how love grows through this awareness, through this softness, through this truth, you must then learn something equally important: how to keep love alive without losing yourself. Because love that deepens must also endure. And the art of endurance is the next part of our journey. Now that we have walked through the subtle opening of presence and the deeper unfolding of understanding, we can enter one of the most misunderstood dimensions of love. A place where many relationships stumble, fade, or collapse under the weight of expectations and unspoken fears. What I am about to share may feel like a gentle shock, because the world teaches you that love must be held tightly, protected fiercely, guarded like a fragile treasure that could slip away at any moment. But real love doesn't die because something threatens it from the outside. Real love fades when the people inside it forget themselves. Love stays alive not through effort or control, but through balance. The delicate dance between closeness and space, between togetherness and individuality, between we and I. And without this balance, even the most passionate beginning can wither into resentment, boredom, or silence. Let us go slowly here, because this is where so many hearts break without understanding why. When two people come close, the mind begins to cling. It is the nature of the mind. It wants guarantees. It wants promises carved in stone. It wants the other person to become a fixed source of comfort. And the moment love becomes a source of security rather than a living flame, something tightens inside. You begin to hold on. You begin to expect. You begin to believe the other person must be the answer to your emptiness, your loneliness, your fears. But no relationship can survive this kind of pressure. When you lose yourself in another person, you think you are increasing love. You think, I am giving my all. I am merging with them. But you are suffocating it. Love needs two whole beings meeting. not two beings collapsing into each other like houses built on unstable ground. Think of two trees growing side by side. If they grow too close, their branches tangle, their roots fight for space, neither can reach their full height. Both suffer. They become stunted, they block each other's sun. But if they stand with just enough distance, close enough to share sunlight, close enough for their shade to touch, close enough to whisper in the wind, yet separate enough to grow freely, then both flourish. They rise high into the sky. They are together, yet they are individuals. Love is no different. Space is not distance. Do not confuse the two. Distance is emotional coldness. Space is respect. Space is not withdrawal. Space is simply the freedom for each person to remain themselves, to breathe, to evolve, to follow their own rhythm while still choosing to walk beside one another. Without this freedom, love becomes a cage. And no matter how beautiful the cage, it may be made of gold, it may be decorated with diamonds, the soul cannot thrive inside it. The bird will stop singing. Look deeply into your own past, and you will see how losing yourself made love harder, not easier. You may have tried to be everything the other person wanted. You became a chameleon. You may have twisted yourself into shapes that hurt your nature. You may have silenced your needs to keep the peace. You may have swallowed your truth to avoid conflict. At first it may have looked like harmony. Oh, look how well we get along, but inside something was shrinking. When you abandon yourself to keep someone close, you don't strengthen the relationship. You hollow it out, you remove the foundation. Eventually, resentment grows where authenticity should have lived. Eventually, exhaustion takes the place of joy. Eventually, love begins to fade, not because it wasn't strong enough, but because the self beneath it disappeared. There was no one left to love. Keeping love alive requires the boldness to remain yourself fully, unapologetically, clearly. It requires the courage to say yes with your whole being and the equal courage to say no when something violates your truth. A no said from truth is more loving than a yes said from fear. It requires honesty even when honesty brings uncomfortable conversations. It requires honoring your individuality because only an individual can truly love. A dependent person clings, a fearful person controls, but an individual shares freely. Love is a meeting between two strong, open beings, not two halves trying to complete each other. Not two wounded hearts trying to merge into one big wound. Real love is spacious. It breathes, it moves. It invites two people to keep growing, knowing that growth deepens connection rather than threatens it. Let me offer you a simple example, a visual meditation. Imagine holding a candle. If you place your hand over the flame to protect it, what happens? You extinguish it. You kill the very light you wanted to save. But if you give it space to burn, if you shield it gently from the storm but do not smother it, it shines brighter. Love burns in the same way. It doesn't need protection. It needs oxygen. And oxygen comes from truth, from individuality, from the freedom to be fully alive. When two people allow each other this freedom, love becomes a celebration, a dance, a movement without fear. There is no holding on because the connection is real. There is no clinging because trust has replaced fear. There is no shrinking because both people are expanding. So let this be a turning point in your understanding. Love doesn't stay alive by trying to preserve it in a jar. Love stays alive when both people remain awake. Awake to themselves, awake to each other, awake to the subtle changes that always occur as life flows, awake to the need for closeness and the need for space, awake to the natural rhythm of connection. opening, softening, resting, opening again, like a heartbeat, contract, expand, contract, expand. When you learn to honor this rhythm, love becomes effortless, natural, alive. And if you are ready to honor this rhythm in your own life, if you are ready to be a tree standing tall beside another, consider supporting this channel with super thanks. It helps us plant these seeds of wisdom in more hearts. And for those who wish to go deeper into the art of conscious relating, our ebooks are waiting for you in the description below. And now that you understand how to keep love alive without losing yourself, you are ready to enter the deepest part of this journey. The love that is greater than relationship. The love that expands far beyond two people and begins to touch the very essence of existence. We are leaving the small room of romance now. We are stepping out under the vast sky. Now that you've begun to see how love grows, how it breathes, how it deepens, and how it must remain balanced to stay alive, we can finally step beyond the narrow frame in which most people keep love trapped. Up until now, we have been speaking about love between two people, the meeting of two hearts, two lives, two stories. But this is only one doorway. It is not the temple. It is just the entrance. It is a doorway into something much larger, something far more mysterious, far more powerful, and far more transformative than anything you can experience in a single relationship. What I am about to share is not romantic, it is not sentimental, and it is not bound to the familiar patterns of attachment. It is the deeper truth that waits behind every moment of intimacy, every longing, every connection. And once you understand this, once you feel it in your own being, your entire relationship with love and with life itself begins to shift. You are about to discover the difference between the wave and the ocean. Romantic love is only a wave. The real love, the vast love, the eternal love is the ocean. Two people meeting in love is a beautiful thing. Do not misunderstand me. It is a dance, it is a song, but it is not the whole thing. If you think the wave is the whole ocean, you will be terrified when the wave crashes against the shore and disappears. You will think the ocean has died, but the ocean has not died. Only the form has changed. Every person you have ever loved, your first crush, your spouse, your secret lover, and every person you will ever love is simply a mirror. They are reflecting something back to you. They are reflecting the greater love that moves through all of existence. They are a doorway, not the destination. But what do? We fall in love with the door. We decorate the door. We worship the door. We cling to the door frame, and we forget to walk through it. A wave rises for a moment, shines in the sunlight, catches the eye, and then dissolves back into the sea. You may fall in love with a wave, but that wave is only meaningful because it belongs to the ocean. In the same way, you may fall in love with a person, but the love you feel for them is meaningful only because it arises from something much larger. It arises from the ocean of being that connects all hearts, all lives, all moments. This is why no relationship can ever fully satisfy you if you expect it to be the source of all your love. A wave cannot carry the whole ocean. How can one small human being carry your entire spiritual hunger? It is too heavy for them. You will crush them with your need. Every lover you meet is touched by the same force that created stars, that stirs the wind, that makes a seed break open in the dark soil. When you look into their eyes and you feel that sudden expansion, that sudden yes, You are not just feeling love for them, you are feeling love through them. You are feeling the universe touching you through another person's eyes, another person's voice, another person's presence. They are the instrument, not the music. And when you cling to the person and forget the ocean behind them, suffering begins. Because waves change. They rise, they fall, they transform. People change, they grow, they evolve, they move through seasons. Sometimes they leave, sometimes they die, sometimes they simply stop loving you in the way you want. But the ocean remains. Think about the moments when you loved someone so deeply that the world seemed brighter, lighter, more alive. Everything looked different. The sky looked bluer. The trees looked greener. The sound of your own footsteps sounded like music. Did this happen because of the person alone? Did they paint the sky? Did they tune the birds? No. It happened because love within you awakened. They were the spark, but you were the flame. They opened something that was already waiting inside you. They turned the key, but the engine was yours. And this is a great misunderstanding of relationship. We believe another person gives us love. We say, "He gave me so much love." No. In truth, they only open the door to the love you already carry. And here is the liberation. When that person leaves or changes or disappoints you, the door may close. Yes, it hurts when the door closes, but the love was never theirs to take. It was your ocean all along. Let's look at this from another angle. I want you to visualize this because images speak directly to the unconscious. Imagine a drop of water in the ocean. For a brief moment, it rises as a wave. It is unique, it is expressive, it is alive, it has a shape, it has a name. But it is still the ocean expressing itself in a temporary form. When the wave falls, nothing is lost. The water returns to itself. In the same way, every relationship, every friendship, every human connection is a temporary form in which the ocean of love expresses itself. When that form changes, the love does not disappear. It simply returns to its source. This understanding brings a freedom few people ever experience. It is the ultimate freedom in relationship, because when you know the ocean is always within you, you no longer fear the rise and fall of individual waves. You enjoy the wave while it is there. You surf it, you celebrate it, but you do not cry when it hits the shore. You know another wave is coming, and even if no wave comes, you are still the water. This is what transforms love from a desperate search into a peaceful knowing. This is what turns relationships from a battlefield into a celebration. This is what dissolves the fear of loss, because you realize that nothing real can be lost. Only forms change. Only expressions shift. The essence remains untouched. And when you begin to relate to others from this place, something remarkable happens. You love more deeply because you are no longer afraid. Fear makes love shallow. When you are afraid of drowning, you stay in the shallow water. But when you know you are the water, you can dive deep. You let people be themselves because you are no longer trying to hold them hostage. You allow closeness without clinging and distance without panic. You love fully because you are rooted not in the wave but in the ocean. If this metaphor of the ocean resonates with your spirit, if you feel the truth of it washing over you, please take a moment to click the like button. It helps this message ripple out further into the digital ocean. And if you wish to support the source of these messages, consider becoming a member by clicking join. Your support helps us keep the lighthouse burning. And when love expands like this, when it moves from personal to universal, from seeking to sharing, from clinging to flowing, something even more remarkable begins to reveal itself. Now that you've begun to sense the ocean behind all lovers, we can step into an even deeper truth, one that transforms love from an experience into a way of existing, from something that happens between two people into something that radiates from within you like light from a flame. And this truth may feel like stepping into an entirely new world because it has nothing to do with romance. It has nothing to do with possession, nothing to do with the usual games of attraction and attachment. This truth is simple, yet it has the power to change everything. Love is not something you do. Love is something you become. When love rises not as an emotion, emotions come and go like weather, but as a state of being. It no longer depends on a person. It no longer depends on a situation. It no longer depends on a relationship or on any condition you can name. It becomes a natural expression of your presence, effortless, overflowing, inexhaustible. To understand this, you must first look at how you have been taught to experience love. Most people treat love like a reaction. It is chemical, it is biological, it is psychological. It is triggered by another person's beauty, behavior, attention, or approval. They believe love appears because of the other person, as if it is a response rather than an inner fragrance. I love you because you are beautiful. I love you because you are rich. I love you because you are kind to me. And so their love is always unstable, always conditional, always fragile, always tied to something outside their control. When the other person changes, the love changes. When the beauty fades, the love fades. When the situation changes, the love evaporates. When the conditions shift, the heart contracts. And this is why so many people live in fear. Fear of loss, fear of betrayal, fear of abandonment, because their love is attached to something external, and anything external can be taken away. The bank account can disappear, the beauty can wrinkle, the mood can shift. But when love becomes a state of being, you stop depending on the outside world to activate your heart. You stop waiting for someone to awaken something within you. You stop needing another person to make you feel alive. Instead, love becomes the natural glow of your own awareness. It becomes the quiet warmth that rises in you when you are present, when you are truthful, when you are connected to the depth of your own being. Love becomes something you radiate without effort. Think of a lamp that lights the room simply by being lit. Does the lamp ask, "Is there anyone in the room?" No. Does the lamp say, "I will only shine if a beautiful person enters"? No. Does the lamp say, "I will shine only for those who deserve it"? No, it shines because shining is its nature. It cannot help but shine. When you become love, you shine in the same way. You don't love someone, you simply love. The object is secondary, the subject is primary. This is why those who live in love as a state of being attract people without trying. They comfort others without intention. They inspire trust without speaking. Their very presence becomes nourishing. You can feel it when you sit with someone who has discovered this. Have you ever met such a person? Maybe an old grandmother, maybe a simple gardener, maybe a master. The way they listen, the way they breathe, the way they see the world. There is no tension, there is no demand, there is no fear hidden beneath their affection. Their love is not a hook. It is not trying to catch you. It is a fragrance. It is not a transaction. I give you this, you give me that. It is a blessing. And when you come close to someone like this, you feel safe without them trying to protect you. You feel valued without them trying to impress you. You feel expanded without them trying to change you. Their love is gentle, spacious, and quietly transformative. But here is the real secret. The path to becoming love begins with becoming yourself. When you drop pretense, when you drop fear, when you drop the masks the world has forced onto you, your natural state begins to reveal itself. And that natural state is love, not the emotional storm people confuse with love, not the desperate longing they call love, but the steady awareness that sees beauty in everything, that feels connected to everyone, that recognizes itself in every pair of eyes. Love as a state of being is the realization that nothing is separate, not truly. The same life that moves through you moves through every other person you have ever loved and through many you have never met. It moves through the enemy, it moves through the stranger. This understanding brings a strange kind of freedom. When you become love, you no longer chase it. Why would the sun chase the light? It is the light. When you embody love, you no longer worry about losing it. How can you lose what you are? When you radiate love, you no longer operate from emptiness. You begin to live with a quiet joy, a subtle peace, an inner wholeness that cannot be shaken by the comings and goings of people or events. You become the source rather than the seeker. You become the giver rather than the beggar. And from this place, every relationship you enter becomes richer. Why? Because you are no longer trying to extract love from others. You are no longer a vampire sucking energy. You are a flower giving perfume. You are sharing your own. This is the shift that turns love from a temporary experience into a continuous unfolding. This is the moment when love stops being a visitor, a guest who comes and goes, and becomes a companion, a resident in your house. And as you move deeper into this state, you will encounter a misunderstanding that many people face. A confusion that arises precisely because love has grown inside you. And that misunderstanding is this: the world will tell you that if you don't need anyone, you are cold. The world will tell you that independence is lonely. But I tell you, once you become love itself, you no longer need love from the outside to feel loved. And this is the most terrifying thought for the ego, but the most liberating truth for the soul. And we must explore that next, because it can free you from the deepest fear of all, the fear of being alone. Are you ready to face the fear of being alone? Are you ready to see that aloneness is not loneliness? If you feel a trembling in your heart, it is good. It means the old structures are shaking. If you are ready to walk into this liberation, show your readiness by clicking like. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now. Join this community of overflowing hearts. For those who wish to read the maps of this inner territory, remember our ebooks are waiting in the description. Now let us step into the freedom of needing nothing and therefore enjoying everything. Now that you've begun to see love not as a reaction but as a state of being, we can enter one of the most liberating and misunderstood shifts on the entire path of love. A shift that changes the way you relate to yourself, to others, and to life itself. It is a shift so profound that once it happens inside you, your entire emotional landscape transforms. Your fears change, your desires change, even your understanding of loneliness changes. And though this truth may sound paradoxical, it is simple once experienced. When love begins to rise from within you, you no longer need love from the outside to feel loved. You may still enjoy it, you may still celebrate it, you may still welcome it, you may still share it, but you are no longer dependent on it. You no longer wait for someone to fill the space inside you. because the space is already full. What once felt like a deep hunger becomes a quiet fullness. What once felt like longing becomes presence. What once felt like fear becomes freedom. Let us go slowly here because the world teaches the opposite. The world is a school of dependency. From childhood, you are taught that love must come from others, from parents, from friends, from partners, from family, from society. You are taught that you are a beggar with a bowl and you must dance and sing and perform so that people will throw coins of love into your bowl. You are taught that you need to be validated, acknowledged, chosen, desired. You learn to measure your worth by how others respond to you. If they smile, you are good. If they frown, you are bad. If they stay, you are valuable. If they leave, you are worthless. And without even noticing it, your emotional state becomes a reflection of how others treat you. You become a puppet, and the strings are in the hands of everyone else. If they love you, you feel warm. If they leave, you feel cold. If they praise you, you feel confident. If they withdraw, you feel insecure. This dependency becomes so ingrained that most people never question it. They assume it is natural to feel loved only when someone else offers it. They think this slavery is what love means, but this dependency is the root of almost all emotional suffering. Because anything that comes from the outside can be taken away, and whatever can be taken away creates fear. You cannot enjoy the love because you are too busy guarding it. You are too busy worrying, will it last? Will he change? Will she find someone better? The fear poisons the joy, but when love begins to rise within you as a state of being, the dependency dissolves. The strings are cut, the puppet becomes a human being. You no longer feel empty when you are alone because your own presence becomes nourishment. You no longer feel fearful when someone pulls away because your sense of worth is no longer tied to their approval. You no longer feel desperate to be chosen because you are already choosing yourself. This doesn't mean you become cold or detached. Do not misunderstand the nature of freedom. Freedom is not coldness. It doesn't mean you stop loving others. It means you stop needing their love to confirm your own existence. You love freely because you are overflowing, not because you are starving. And this freedom changes everything. Imagine a well that never dries. No matter the weather, no matter how much water is drawn from it, no matter how much the seasons change, the well remains full because its source does not depend on the rain. It comes from deep underground, from a spring that never stops flowing, from the earth itself. When you become that well, relationships become sweeter. Why? Because you come to them not as someone thirsty, needing to drink to survive, but as someone overflowing, ready to give, ready to share, ready to meet the other person without fear. When you no longer need love to feel loved, your relationships become lighter. The heaviness disappears. You no longer cling. You no longer panic when someone needs space. You no longer interpret distance as rejection. You no longer collapse when things change. You stand steady, open, available, but whole. And here is something many people don't realize. It is a secret of magnetic energy. When you no longer need love from the outside, you actually attract healthier, deeper, more conscious relationships. Why? Because you are no longer sending out the energy of neediness. Neediness repels love. Neediness smells like desperation. It pushes people away. When you are needy, you project your wounds onto others. You are looking for a nurse, not a lover. You are looking for a crutch, not a companion. But when you are whole, You are no longer trying to make someone else responsible for your emptiness. You are meeting people from a place of fullness, and fullness invites fullness. People who are whole are drawn to those who are whole. Kings recognize kings, queens recognize queens. People who are free are drawn to those who are free. When you no longer need love to feel loved, the love you do receive becomes pure. It is not polluted by fear. It is not polluted by expectation. It is simply a gift. You can enjoy it completely because you are not afraid of losing it. This shift also transforms your relationship with loneliness. Loneliness arises when you believe you're incomplete. Loneliness is the feeling, I am missing something, I am missing someone. But when you begin to feel love from within your own being, solitude becomes a source of peace rather than pain. You can sit with yourself without anxiety. You can be alone without feeling abandoned. You can spend time with your own thoughts without drowning in them. Silence becomes a friend rather than a threat. This is the moment when you stop running from yourself because you finally realize there is nothing to run from. The monster you were afraid of was just a shadow. The space inside you is no longer empty. It is alive. It is luminous. And hear this clearly. You will still enjoy being loved by others. You will still enjoy companionship, closeness, connection. We are human beings. Connection is beautiful, but these joys become additions, not necessities. They are the dessert, not the main meal. They enrich your life, but they no longer define it. They bring beauty, but they no longer dictate your worth. You are no longer fragile. You are no longer anxious. You are no longer waiting for someone else to light your inner flame. The flame is already burning. If you are beginning to feel the heat of this inner flame, if you are recognizing the possibility of a love that makes you free rather than dependent, then you are ready to make this practical, because understanding is the map, but practice is the walking. And now with this new understanding, with this fullness rising, with this awareness expanding, we can bring everything together. We can gather all these truths and turn them into a living path, a way of moving through the world that allows you to become love itself, not as an idea, not as a dream, but as your natural state. And that is where our journey goes next. Up to this point, we've been exploring the inner landscape of love, the illusions that kept it distant, the fears that made it fragile, the misunderstandings that made it heavy, and the deeper truths that allow it to grow freely. Now you stand at the threshold of a different kind of love, a love that doesn't depend on another person, a love that doesn't rise and fall with circumstances, a love that comes from within as naturally as breath or warmth. And yet, even though this love exists inside you, waiting beneath the noise and confusion of daily life, it requires a certain inner climate to be felt. It requires practices, not rituals of effort, not torture, not waking up at 3 a.m. to chant words you do not understand, not sitting like a statue with a strained expression, but simple invitations, small ways of being that help your heart unfold the way a flower opens when the morning light touches it. What I want to offer now are not rules. I do not give commandments, I give keys. These are small ways of being that prepare the heart to expand, to open, to blossom. Let's begin with the simplest of all, moments of silence, not long sessions of meditation where you fight with your legs, but brief, gentle pauses where you return to yourself. Throughout your day, the world is pulling you, the phone is pulling you, the job is pulling you, the family is pulling you. You are always going out. Stop just for 1 minute. Close your eyes. Drop the constant chatter of the mind. Let the world disappear. Even a minute of silence has the power to shift your entire inner world. When you allow yourself to stop, to breathe, a thin veil begins to lift. Your awareness sharpens, your breath slows, your heart softens, and in that softness, love becomes possible. Without moments of silence, you remain entangled in thoughts, emotions, and unconscious habits that leave no space for love to appear. You are too busy driving the car to notice the scenery. Silence is the doorway through which love enters. And the more often you open this doorway, 5 times a day, 10 times a day, just for a moment, the more natural it becomes for love to flow. If you are willing to try this, if you are willing to give yourself the gift of these small pauses, click the like button as a commitment to your own peace. And if you wish to support the creation of more content that guides you into this silence, consider using super thanks. Your gratitude creates a circle of energy. The second practice is awareness of breath. Your breath is the bridge. It is the bridge between the body and the mind, between the visible and the invisible, between the outer world and your inner life. Have you noticed? When you are angry, your breath changes. It becomes short, fast, chaotic. When you are afraid, your breath stops. But when you are in love, when you are relaxed, your breath becomes deep, slow, musical. You can reverse this. By changing the breath, you can change the state. When you bring attention to your breath, you return to the present moment. You stop living in memories. You stop living in fantasies. You stop carrying the weight of yesterday or the fear of tomorrow. And in the present moment, love lives. Love only lives in the present. You cannot love in the past. You cannot love in the future. You can only love now. Take one conscious breath and feel how everything becomes more vivid. Take another and feel how your mind begins to quiet. Take another and notice how your chest expands, how your body relaxes, how your heart begins to open from the inside. Breath is not just a function. It is a meditation that is always available. It is your constant companion. It is always waiting, always ready to guide you back to yourself. The third practice is watching your thoughts without judging them. This is perhaps the most transformative because most of your suffering comes not from life itself, but from the stories your mind creates about life, the interpretations, the assumptions, the comparisons. She didn't call, so she hates me. He is quiet, so he is bored. These are just stories, the fears, the old narratives you repeat without questioning. When you begin to watch your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky, you create space between you and the mind. You are the sky. The thoughts are the clouds. Clouds come and go. Some are black, some are white. Some bring rain, some bring shade. But the sky remains untouched. You stop believing every thought. You stop identifying with every emotion. You begin to see which thoughts come from fear, which from conditioning, which from insecurity, and once you see them clearly, they lose their power. A thought only has power if you believe it is true. With every moment of observation, you open more space inside yourself. And in that space, love grows effortlessly. The fourth practice is gratitude. Not forced gratitude, not writing a list because a book told you to, not pretending everything is perfect when you are in pain, not denying your sadness, but a simple, genuine recognition of the small beauties that surround you. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to presence, from resistance to acceptance. the mind is trained to look for what is missing. I don't have this, I don't have that. Gratitude trains the heart to see what is here. When you begin to notice the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the kindness of a stranger, the sound of wind moving through the trees, something begins to loosen inside you. The hardness of the ego begins to melt. Gratitude opens the heart like nothing else. It dissolves bitterness, it softens tension, and it creates a subtle joy that becomes the foundation for deeper love. Gratitude does not ignore the difficulties of life. It simply reminds you that even in difficulty there is beauty, even in the desert there is a flower. And as you weave these practices into your daily life, silence, breath, watching, gratitude, something remarkable begins to happen. The heart becomes lighter, the mind becomes clearer, the inner noise lessens. You begin to feel more like yourself. You begin to feel more grounded, more open, more receptive. And love begins to rise not as a reaction, not as a need, but as a natural expression of who you are. These practices are not goals in themselves. Do not strive to be a good meditator. There is no grade. They are like preparing the soil before planting a seed. When the soil is soft, moist, and open, the seed can grow without struggle. In the same way, when your inner world is calm, aware, spacious, and grateful, love rises without effort. It becomes part of your breath, part of your movement, part of your presence. But the heart needs something more than practice. It needs a deeper shift, a profound letting go, the willingness to allow life, love, and yourself to unfold without force. And that is where we go next. Now that the foundations of the heart have been softened through simple practices, silence, breath, awareness, gratitude, we can enter a deeper and more transformative dimension of love, a dimension that cannot be reached through discipline or effort or control. In fact, it is a dimension that opens only when effort dissolves, when control softens, when the tight grip of the mind relaxes its hold on life. If the previous steps were about preparing the soil, this step is about surrendering to the natural growth that follows. And the truth I want to share now is one that many people resist because it runs against everything they have been taught since childhood. We are trained to fight. We are trained to push. We are trained to make things happen. But love grows when you stop trying to control it. Love flourishes not through force, but through allowing. And allowing is the secret that turns a struggle into a dance. If you are ready to stop fighting with life and start dancing with it, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. This community is a dance floor for the soul. And for those who wish to learn the steps of this dance in more detail, our ebooks are waiting in the description. Now, let us learn the art of allowing. Love grows when you stop trying to control it. Love flourishes not through force, but through allowing. Allowing life to unfold, allowing others to be themselves, allowing your own heart to move in its natural rhythm. This is the great secret that the mind struggles to accept. The mind wants to be the master. The mind wants to be the driver. It wants to hold the steering wheel of your life so tightly that your knuckles turn white. But love is not a car to be driven. It is a mystery to be lived, allowing moments to become whatever they want to become instead of what you think they should be. Why is this so difficult? Why is surrender such a frightening word for us? Because control is a response to fear. You try to control something only when you are afraid of losing it. You try to control only when you are afraid of uncertainty, afraid of being hurt, afraid of the unknown. And because the mind fears uncertainty above all else, it hates the blank page, it hates the dark room, it seeks to shape life according to its own preferences. It tries to write the script of the future before the actors have even arrived on stage. It holds on tightly to what feels good and resists anything that feels uncomfortable. But love is the opposite of this. Love is rooted in trust. Love is rooted in openness. Love is rooted in allowing life to happen without forcing it into narrow pathways. When you allow, you are acknowledging that life is bigger than your plans. You are admitting that life is wiser than your fears and more mysterious than your expectations. You surrender not out of weakness. Surrender is not defeat. Do not confuse the two. Surrender is the highest form of intelligence. You surrender out of wisdom, the wisdom of understanding that control is an illusion and love cannot survive inside an illusion. Let us look at nature. Nature does not strain. Nature allows. Consider a river flowing through a landscape. Visualize it. It moves naturally. It moves effortlessly. It follows the curves of the earth. When the land opens, the river widens. When the land tightens, the river narrows. It changes shape without resistance. The river does not push itself forward. It does not carry a map. It does not fight the land saying, "I must go in a straight line." It does not demand a straight path. It allows, and because it allows, because it trusts gravity, because it trusts the earth, it reaches the ocean with grace. Now imagine trying to force a river into a straight line. Imagine building walls, pushing against its natural course, trying to control every turn, every drop of water. What happens? The water becomes turbulent, it resists, it crashes against the walls, the flow is disrupted, the beauty is lost, the peace is destroyed. This is what happens in your heart when you try to control a relationship. When you try to control love, the natural rhythm becomes distorted, the flow becomes tense, the connection becomes rigid. You are trying to turn a wild river into a canal. A canal is useful perhaps, but it is not beautiful. It has no soul. But when you allow love to flow, when you stop forcing outcomes and begin trusting the deeper intelligence of life, love finds its own way into the ocean of your being. If you are tired of building dams and walls in your heart, if you are ready to let the river flow, click the like button. It is a signal to your own unconscious mind. I am ready to flow. And if you wish to help us guide others to this river of truth, consider using Super Thanks. Your support helps us remove the obstacles for many seekers. Now, understand this clearly. Allowing is not passivity. People think, if I allow, I become a doormat. People will walk over me. No. Allowing is not indifference. It is not resignation. It is not saying, I don't care. Allowing is a deep engagement with reality. It is a willingness to experience life directly without the filters of fear and expectation. It is the courage to face what is rather than what you want it to be. When you allow someone to be themselves, you create space for intimacy because intimacy requires freedom. You cannot be intimate with a prisoner. And if you are controlling someone, you are making them a prisoner. When you allow yourself to feel what you feel without judging or suppressing it, you create space for healing, because healing requires honesty. When you allow relationships to evolve naturally without rushing them, without dragging them, without trying to fit them into a story, You create space for authenticity because authenticity requires time. Let me give you a simple example that happens every day. Imagine meeting someone new. You go on a date, you talk, there's a spark, a connection, a moment of resonance. What does the mind do? The mind immediately begins to plan. Before you have even finished your coffee, the mind is imagining the future. It is projecting possibilities. Will we get married? What will our children look like? Will he like my friends? It is building expectations, but this planning suffocates the moment. It distances you from the present. You are no longer sitting with the person. You are sitting with your fantasy of the future. It creates pressure where none is needed. Suddenly the text message becomes heavy. Why didn't he reply in 10 minutes? Why did she use that emoji? The lightness is gone. Allowing means letting that spark be what it is, a spark, not a fire, not a volcano, just a spark, not a contract. It means being present with what is emerging rather than trying to define it too quickly. It means trusting the natural rhythm of connection rather than trying to accelerate it out of impatience or fear. Can you sit with the ambiguity? Can you sit with the I don't know? I don't know where this is going. That is a beautiful place to be. That is the place of wonder. That is the place of magic. Allowing also means accepting a difficult truth, that not every connection is meant to stay, and not every relationship is meant to become long-term. Some people enter your life to open a door, to teach you something, to awaken something, to reflect something. They are messengers. They may stay for a season or a moment, and allowing means meeting them with openness instead of grasping. When the lesson is learned, when the season is over, can you let them go? Or do you cling to the messenger and forget the message? When you allow people to enter and leave your life without clinging, you stop wasting your energy resisting what is already happening. You stop fighting the natural flow of life. You stop creating pain through attachment to what cannot stay. You realize that goodbye is not a tragedy. It is simply the closing of a chapter, making space for the next one. And perhaps the most important aspect of allowing is allowing yourself to grow, allowing yourself to change, allowing yourself to expand, allowing yourself to make mistakes without turning them into identities. You make a mistake and you say, I am a failure. No, you simply made a mistake. Allow the mistake, learn from it, laugh at it, move on. Allowing yourself to move through seasons of loneliness, seasons of joy, seasons of uncertainty, seasons of clarity. You are not a machine. You are a garden. A garden has winter. A garden has storms. A garden has days where nothing seems to bloom. When you allow yourself to be human, to feel, to unfold, to evolve, love grows naturally, because love cannot flow through a heart that is at war with itself. If you are judging yourself, you will judge others. If you are controlling yourself, you will control others. But when you stop controlling life, life begins to surprise you. When you stop forcing love, love begins to move toward you. When you stop resisting change, change becomes transformation. Allowing is the quiet magic that turns longing into fulfillment. It turns fear into trust. It turns connection into something sacred. And when allowing becomes your way of being, something beautiful begins to emerge. A heart so full, so open, so overflowing that love is no longer something you experience. It becomes who you are. And that is where we must go next. This is the peak of the mountain. Now that you've begun to touch the power of allowing, the gentle opening, the quiet surrender, the deep trust in life's natural rhythm, we arrive at the final transformation in this journey. The place where all the pieces come together, where love stops being something you seek and becomes something you embody. This is the place where you no longer look for love, where you no longer chase it, where you no longer fear losing it because it rises from within you like a spring that cannot be exhausted. This is the moment where love becomes your atmosphere, your fragrance, your presence. And what I want to show you here is not a technique or a method, but a way of existing, a way of walking through the world as an overflowing heart. To live as an overflowing heart means that everything you touch carries a quiet softness, a subtle warmth, a natural compassion. It means you do not love to receive something in return. Look at the sun. Does the sun send you an invoice at the end of the month? I gave you light for 30 days, please pay me. No. It gives because it is full of light. You love because loving has become as natural to you as breathing. It means you treat every encounter, every moment, every human being with the same openness you once reserved only for those you were romantically attached to. Why save your love for one person? Why be a miser with your love? You begin to see that everyone is carrying something old, wounds, private fears, hidden hopes. Everyone is fighting a hard battle, and your presence becomes a place where they feel seen without judgment and accepted without condition. You become someone who stands in the world not with hardness, not with guardedness, not with suspicion, but with a heart that is quietly and steadily radiating warmth. This is not an emotional overflow. I am not talking about becoming hysterical, not a dramatic outpouring of feelings, not sentimental intensity, not tears flooding from your eyes at every sunrise. That is just emotion. That is volatility. Emotional overflow is unstable and easily shaken. Living as an overflowing heart is different. It is steady, it is grounded, it is rooted in a deep knowing that you are connected to life, to existence, to something vast and ever-present. When you live this way, your love is not directed only toward one person. It flows in all directions. You begin to see beauty everywhere, in a stranger's smile, in the stillness of morning air, in the quiet movements of someone lost in their own thoughts. You start to care, not because you are trying to be good or moral or religious. You start to care because caring feels natural when you're overflowing. When the bucket is full, the water must spill. You begin to become a source of comfort for others without even trying, simply because your presence reminds them of something true inside themselves. And something extraordinary happens when you move through life with this kind of fullness. You attract harmony without effort. You draw in relationships that resonate with your openness. You stop matching with people who feed on your insecurity. You stop matching with people who manipulate your longing. Why? Because those energies cannot survive in the presence of someone who is already whole. Darkness cannot enter a room that is full of light. A manipulator cannot manipulate someone who needs nothing. You become a mirror that reflects people back to their own capacity for love, not their fears. And the people who come close to you feel this immediately. They feel calmer, more grounded, more open, because the energy you carry gives them permission to be real. This is why living as an overflowing heart is the most magnetic state of existence. You don't chase love, you invite it. You don't demand connection, you inspire it. You don't grip onto people, you allow them to come close because you are no longer afraid of losing yourself. Living in this way also transforms your relationship with pain. Pain no longer feels like a threat to your identity. It becomes a passing weather, a movement of emotion that you can feel without collapsing into it. When your heart is overflowing, you have space. Space for sadness, space for disappointment, space for uncertainty. Pain does not close you, it deepens you. It reminds you that love is not fragile. It reminds you that openness is not weakness. It reminds you that being human is a vast and complex experience, and there is room inside you for all of it. The overflowing heart is not protected from pain. It simply knows that pain cannot diminish its capacity to love. And the most beautiful part is this. When you live as an overflowing heart, you become a blessing to others without intention. A kind word from you carries more weight. A gentle smile from you lingers in someone's memory. A quiet moment of presence with you can change the direction of someone's day. You become a catalyst for healing simply by existing in your truth. And this is the secret many people miss. The more you overflow, the more love you receive. Not because you asked for it, not because you needed it, but because love naturally returns to those who give from fullness, not from fear. It is the law of echo. What you send out returns. This is the natural end of the journey, not an end as in completion, but an end as in arrival. The arrival at a new way of being where love is no longer a destination but the path itself, where every breath carries softness, every gesture carries presence, every word carries awareness. And when you begin to live this way, love follows you like a shadow appearing in forms and moments you could never predict, because existence responds to the one who is full. And now that you've stepped into the understanding of living from overflow, it is time to bring all of this together. To gather everything we've explored and offer a closing that seals this journey with clarity, direction, and a gentle invitation into what comes next. If you are ready to be this overflowing heart, if you are ready to be the source of your own love, verify this commitment by clicking the join button. Become a pillar of this community. And for the seekers who want to carry these truths in their pocket, remember to explore our ebooks in the description. We are reaching the final moments of our time together, the last steps of the dance. In the final part, we will weave every thread we have spun: fear, silence, authenticity, allowing, overflow, into a single garment of understanding that you can wear for the rest of your life. Are you ready for the conclusion? Are you ready to walk away from this video not just with new ideas, but as a new person? We have walked a long journey together, and now we arrive at the place where everything must come together. We are not here to collect intellectual souvenirs. We are not here to fill your mind with more theories. The mind is already too full. We are here for synthesis. We must gather all these separate lessons, all these scattered insights, and turn them into a single living understanding that can rise inside you and carry you forward long after this moment ends. Look at where you started. Look at the person who clicked on this video in the beginning. You traveled from the outer confusion of seeking love in the wrong places to the quiet recognition that love begins within you. Do you remember that old self, the one who stood on the street corner of life with an empty bowl begging for attention? Please look at me, please validate me. You have looked at the fears that shaped your longing. You dared to look at the walls that kept your heart guarded. You had the courage to examine the illusions that made you chase completion in others instead of discovering it in yourself. This is no small thing. To look at one's own illusions is the bravest act a human being can perform. You've learned how silence opens you. You realized that without silence, you are just noise, and love cannot enter noise. You learned how authenticity frees you. You saw that the mask cannot be loved, only the face can be loved. You learned how presence deepens connection, that simply being there without distraction is the greatest gift you can offer, and understanding. You saw how understanding transforms relationships from fragile dreams into living, breathing realities. You've seen how love grows only when there is no demand. You dropped the heavy weights of you must and you should. You saw how it thrives in balance, the balance of the two trees standing together but not overshadowing one another. You saw how it expands beyond personal attachment, how the wave realizes it is the ocean, and finally you stepped into overflow, the truth that love can rise so strongly inside you that it spills into everything you touch, turning your entire existence into an offering rather than a search. You are no longer the hunter, you are the garden. Let all of this settle inside you now. Do not try to remember it with your memory. The memory is weak. Let it sink into your blood. Let it sink into your bones, not as information, but as transformation. Feel how your heart has shifted from tension to openness. Can you feel it? The fist has opened. The hand is relaxed. Feel how your movement from grasping has turned to allowing. You are no longer grabbing at the water, you are floating in it. Feel how your emptiness has turned to fullness. Feel how your understanding of yourself has softened. You are no longer your own enemy, you are your own beloved. Feel how your breath feels different. It is deeper, it reaches the belly. It anchors you in the now. Feel how your presence feels clearer. You are here. You are actually here. Something inside you has begun to move, to stretch, to awaken. Like a seed that has been underground for a long winter, sensing the first warmth of spring, it pushes against the soil. It prepares to break through. And that movement is the true beginning of your journey with love, not the end. This video is ending, but your life is beginning. Love is no longer something you chase. That game is over. Put down the running shoes. It is something you create. It is something you radiate. It is something you breathe. And once you taste love in this form, love that comes from your own being, you become unshakable. Love that is not dependent on anyone or anything. Then your relationships become richer because you are bringing treasure to them, not asking for alms. Your solitude becomes peaceful because you are in good company, your own. Your heart becomes steady. It is no longer a leaf blowing in the wind of other people's opinions. It is a tree with deep roots. And your life becomes a place where beauty can enter without fear. Now I want to leave you with a vision of how to carry this into your tomorrow, because the test of truth is not how you feel while listening to me. The test is how you live when the screen goes black. Tomorrow, when you wake up, before you reach for your phone, before you rush into the anxiety of the day, take one moment. Remember the ocean. Remember that you are not a beggar. Place your hand on your heart and feel the warmth that is generated by your own life. Remind yourself, I am the source. When you meet people, your family, your colleagues, the bus driver experiment with this new way of being. Look at them not with the eyes of what can I get from you, but with the eyes of I see you. Offer a smile that comes from overflow, not from politeness. Listen to them with the presence we practiced. See what happens. You will see magic. You will see people softening around you. You will see anger dissolving in your presence. You will see love reflecting back to you from the most unexpected places. You will walk through the world as a secret emperor, a secret empress. No one may see your crown, but everyone will feel your royalty, the royalty of a heart that needs nothing and gives everything. This is the only revolution that matters, the revolution of the heart. And you are part of this revolution now. You are an ambassador of this love. Now I want to leave you with a simple affirmation, not as a command. I do not give orders, not as a goal. Goals create tension, but as a gentle reminder of what has always been possible for you, a whisper to keep in your pocket. Repeat this internally. Do not wait for love anymore. Become it. Let every breath be an invitation. Let every moment be a doorway. Let your presence be a quiet blessing to yourself and to those who cross your path. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to chase anything. When your heart is open, the whole world responds. It has no choice but to respond. It resonates. When your heart is overflowing, life moves toward you with a softness you may have forgotten was possible. When you embody love, you become a magnet for experiences, relationships, and connections that reflect the depth you've discovered within yourself. My beloved ones, the search is over. The finding has begun. The cup is broken. The well is open. You are ready. If this journey has transformed something in you, if you feel a lightness that wasn't there before, I ask you now to complete the circle of energy. Do not just consume this and leave. Engage with it. Click the like button. It is a digital nod, a way of saying yes to the universe. Share this video. There is someone in your life right now who is crying, someone who feels unlovable, someone who is lonely. Be the messenger. Send this to them. You might save a heart today. And if you wish to stand with us to help us build this temple of consciousness in a digital world, click the join button. Become a member of this family of seekers. Your support allows us to keep speaking the truth in a world of noise. For those who feel a deep gratitude for this transformation, super thanks is available. It is a beautiful way to offer energy back to the source that nourished you. And do not forget the maps. The ebooks in the description are there to guide you when the mind tries to drag you back into the old patterns. They are your companions for the road ahead. Go now, but do not go to seek love. Go to be loved. The ocean is waiting.